Welcome back, America. As we talked about earlier, there's a big budget deal announced by Speaker Johnson, and there's big dissatisfaction with it, particularly with the House Freedom Caucus, which has sounded the alarm, stating that it's not good for the American people. It doesn't really cut spending like Republicans ran and promised they would do in 2022. Remember, it was this very issue that led to the ousting of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Now the current Speaker is facing very similar questions. Congressman Andrew Clyde is a key member on the House Appropriations Committee, and he joins us now to talk about the spending deal and other big policy fights taking place up on Capitol Hill this January. Congressman, Happy New Year. Great to have you back on the show, sir.
Well, thank you. Great to be back with you, John, Amanda.
Yeah, we are glad to have you. We love when you come on because we get a lot of straight talk. We don't get any gobbledygook. We want the truth on this. There's a perception that maybe Republicans are going to save a little bit of money with this deal. Did the American taxpayer get saved any money by this deal?
I don't think the American taxpayer saves anything by this deal. In fact, it looks like it's $70 billion more than what the Financial Responsibility Act, which was signed into law last year, allows. And that's unacceptable. You can't be going down that path. We are $34 trillion in debt. We just crossed that landmark. And so as a result, how can we spend money that we don't have? This doesn't work for the American people. And honestly, I don't see much different from this than what we saw last year under Kevin McCarthy's leadership. So we got a problem.
Yes, sir. Congressman, help me understand the mindset, because I remember during the Trump era, a lot of people were surprised to know that the IRS actually was bringing in more money. And people were surprised by that because of the Trump tax cuts, and people were paying fewer in taxes. But there were more people who were participating in the work economy. So they were actually making more. So there was a little bit more money to fuel the government. This is the opposite of that. This is two negatives. We have less money and we're spending more. And I'm just trying to understand what the mindset is when you have both of those factors going against you.
Well, we didn't come to Congress. I wasn't sent to Congress to spend more money. I was sent to bring us back into line with, the concept of fiscal responsibility. And what I see here in our government spending, it continues to go up and up and up. And that's not why we're here. We should be reducing government spending. We should be using the power of the purse. Congress has that Article 1 authority, the checkbook. We should be using that to reduce the size of government. And that's not what we're seeing here. The House should be leading on this and not simply following the Senate, what Schumer wants. I mean, when you see that the phenomenal increases in the executive branch budgets, then we've got problems here. And we need to fix that. That's not why the American people gave the Republicans the majority.
Yeah, that's a really important point. So the other thing that was promised beyond spending cuts when Republicans ran in 2022 is that we would get back to regular order. We will get all the appropriations bill passed one by one, because that's the way to cut the government. Given the consecutive budget deals, first with McCarthy, now Johnson, is there any even reason to do the spending bills at this point, or is that a lost opportunity for 2024?
Well, I'm the eternal optimist, John, but I'll tell you, we have now had 2 CRs, and every one of them has said, hey, we need more time to do appropriations. But during the first CR, we didn't spend much time on appropriations. During the second CR, we spent a little bit, but not much time on appropriations. Here now we're facing what could be a third CR, which I'm not going to vote for. Why? We have to get our appropriations done and finished. But I'm not seeing the push on appropriations here. Otherwise, we're going to get jammed by a New Year's omnibus or a New Year's minibus, whatever you want to call it, because we have funding that is literally expiring on January the 19th and February the 2nd. And we've got to get to work on that. If we don't, then we're going to be facing another CR, which is simply a continuation of Nancy Pelosi's spending levels.
Yeah, unreal.
Congressman, I know for you, staying on top of all of the issues is like whack-a-mole, especially with everything happening in Congress and also in your home state. And I wanted to ask you about this scandal that's now rocking DA Fani Willis. She hired this special prosecutor to pursue the RICO charges, Nathan Wade, who, per the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, not even a conservative publication, He's never even tried a felony. He obviously was brought in from outside of her office. She has plenty of prosecutors under her who could have taken up this responsibility, but he was hired from outside. He wasn't approved by a commission to serve in this role. Is this going to be something that could be a fatal blow to her case?
Well, I think there's definitely a nexus to federal spending here. So I think that we have oversight. We have an avenue for oversight here. But when you look at what she has done and paid him over $650,000, and you just mentioned his qualifications, or maybe I should say lack of qualifications, there are serious questions as to what is actually going on here. And I think it's very much worthy of investigation. So we can find out why in the world did she hire him, and then the fact that he billed, the Fulton County DA for at least 2 days worth of time at the White House or speaking to the White House counsel. That is very concerning to see what kind of coordination do we have between the White House and this prosecutor. So this is election interference, in my opinion, at its finest. So,
Congressman.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to jump in because I just remembered something that we spoke to you about last time. You were partnering with Article 3 Project about an amendment to actually look at federal funding for these prosecutions. And I just wanted to get the status of that because I think, gosh, that was months and months ago.
Well, that's an amendment that still has to come to the floor. We haven't done the Commerce, Justice, Science Appropriation Bill yet, and that amendment is going to have a vote on the House floor. It was made in order. So that's the path that we're going toward right now, but it is critical in my mind to get that amendment passed in the House so that we can actually defund at least through federal money, the prosecution of any presidential candidate between now and the November election. We cannot have these local prosecutors or federal prosecutors injecting themselves in a very partisan way into the election process and take away the rights of the American people to vote for who they want to vote for.
Yeah, and that's such a big issue. And you hear anyone you talk to at a dinner party, they want to talk about it. It really concerns people because it doesn't feel like America. Congressman, we've got about a minute left. I want to ask about this quickly. The other part of the budget deal is the border. What sort of deal do you think Mike Johnson is willing to hold on, or will we end up with the Langford deal?
Well, I'll tell you that H.R. 2 is what the House passed. That is our line that we must stand on, and we must hold the line there. No, I don't think the Langford deal is going to be the deal that the House of Representatives will accept. Border, border, border. No security, no funding is what we want the American people to hear. So the Langford deal is completely unacceptable in the House, and I don't think Speaker Johnson is going to go for that. If he does, he's going to have a problem in the House.
Yeah, that he does. Congressman, I wanted to say something quickly. When I first came to town 35 years ago, I had this mentor, and he said there are two truisms in Washington. Follow the money, you'll get the truth, and you'll never meet a House appropriator who will want to cut spending. You finally proved my mentor wrong. You're on that Appropriations Committee, and you're doing what the American people need, which is to fight for spending cuts. We are really lucky to have you on that committee and very blessed that you're holding the line on that. Great to have you in the show today, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Always good to be with you.
Thank you, Congressman. Very good. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got a lot more to talk about. Will Held, one of my favorite guests. He's at Consumer Research. He's going to be here to talk about all the reasons why the C-suite executives should have listened to their shareholders many moons ago. Remember the wokeism that snuck into corporations all around this country? Now the bottom lines of those companies sinking to the ground. We're going to have more of that right after these commercial messages.